This is a Headgum podcast.
I know I'm significantly older than you, but like, I would take this to the next level.
Come on, babe. It's giving all time.
It's happening.
Oh my God.
I love that it's happening.
He just fist bumped me.
You got the fist bump of
Yeah, you don't
friendship.
even know what that means because for gay people, that's like a secret thing.
That what we just did right there?
Yeah, you don't even
Layers.
know.
Wait, are you serious?
No.
No.
I was like, oh fuck.
Hello, Jessi Klein.
Hi, Liz Feldman.
It's good to see ya.
It's nice to be here with you, just letting it all
Hang out. It's nice to hang out with you.
We lightly discussed, I feel like maybe we're on the same wavelength today in terms of just some things that are, we could say in the ether.
Yeah, terrifying
Things.
us.
I mean, do you want to go
Yeah,
first?
yeah. I mean, so my best friend Sarah calls me like
famously best friend Sarah.
Famously, my best friend Sarah. She's pretty great. She calls me 2 days ago because she's going to Chicago, and she, we're just chit chatting. It's a fun little business trip for her,
Sure.
and then this woman, my best friend
Sarah.
salt of the earth, strongest person I know.
She is very strong.
She's
I've met her.
she's like a woman of wonderful. She's made of the stuff. She's made
Powerful
of,
woman.
She's a powerful woman.
The future is female.
Yes, the future is Sarah.
Yes.
And she, as we're getting off the phone, she's like, "Yeah, so I'll call you. I'll call you when I get to Chicago if I get to Chicago." And I was like,
She said, if I get to Chicago.
and she was, and then she admitted to me that she was like a little scared to fly.
I mean, this is top of mind.
And in
Top
a
of
sort of
mind.
like, in a really honest and true moment, instead of doing the thing that I would normally do and try to like be, try to like soften it
Yeah.
and like
You're
pretend like everything's fine.
crazy.
Girl, you're going to be just fine. Like you're
Yeah.
not meant to perish in that way. And I instead was truthful and I was like, yeah, no, I don't love it. I don't love it. But like you're, I'm just going to put you in a bubble. I'm going to put you in like a little safety bubble and you're going to be fine. She's like, I'm going to be fine. And like our voices kept getting higher and higher.
Just helium balloons floating all the way to
Yeah.
the fucking moon.
Told nobody could hear us except for the dogs in the neighborhood.
Every dog starts barking and running.
Yeah,
like
and they're like,
fucking
don't get on the
Lion
plane,
King
Sarah.
stampede."
Don't get on the plane.
Well, wait, how did she react? As someone who often says my greatest fear is just to hear someone say like, you're crazy.
Right.
And I kind of rely on
Yes.
them to say that.
Yes, of course.
How did she react to when you're like, don't love it? Because I will say, even hearing you recount those words to me, don't love it.
Yeah, not great.
Chills me to my core.
Well, because I feel like I'm a little bit that friend for people, for you, for Sarah.
100%.
Who is like the
You're
like,
always, it's going to be okay.
I'm always, it's going to be okay. And
It's one of the things I love about you.
thank you so much, but I didn't want to lie.
Oh, Liz.
And I also like, just in the very rare, not that rare, chance that something were to happen, I wanted
Liz!
her. Well, I'm just saying.
As a Jew, I can't believe, I mean,
Pee-pee
what are you
poo-poo.
doing?
I know, but like planes are fucking landing upside down, Jessi Klein.
Did you see the video that was going around today of the woman getting on a plane who was literally like
Yes,
anointing the plane with oil?
holy water.
Holy water.
What the Christians do, yes.
Yes. I was like, some language I know. But whatever it was, it looked good to me.
It looked great to me.
But I was like, this is the vibe we're currently in.
Yeah, she was like doing the sign of the cross
Sign of
with
the
holy
cross.
water on the entrance to the plane, and even
As she's getting on.
as a Jew, I was like, I'd get on that plane now.
I would feel, I now only want to fly with that woman.
So yeah, it was. I think like what happened with Sarah when she brought it up to me. I do think she was expecting me to be like, "You're gonna be fine."
I know she was expecting you to be like, it's going to be fine. And I am,
Shook.
again,
I know.
shook.
I know.
And not loving your choice.
I don't know. I just couldn't.
But
I
she
just,
rolled with it, it sounds
well,
like.
what we sort of did was like a series of I said, yeah, no, I know what you're saying, and you're gonna be fine. And she's like, mm-hmm. And I'm like, mm-hmm. And then their voices got higher
and higher, as you said, yeah.
And then I was trying to be super cool, like on the day she was flying, and not check in with her like too much to see if she was okay.
Yeah.
Like during the fires, I would say she called me approximately every 45 minutes to see if I was okay, which I really appreciate. But I didn't want to it's like if the plane's going down, it's going down. You know what I mean?
Just
like
don't love you even saying those words out loud.
What's me texting or calling going to do? No, it didn't. She's okay. She is in Chicago.
Oh, she's already made it to Chicago. She's fine. And she's going to make it back.
Yes, she is going to make it back. And she also said that her husband was also kind of worried and calling her a lot. So it is just a weird time,
it's a
you
weird
guys.
Time. But I will also say, one thing that has always given me the chills since even 9/11.
Oh, boy.
And we're doing it.
By the way, let's just be honest, not the first time she's brought up 9/11 on the podcast.
Probably the 8th time I brought it up today. Yeah, what a great comedy podcast. No, but we used to say when someone was going to get on a plane, sorry, voice getting higher and higher. We used to say,
yep.
We used to say, have a great flight, have a fun flight.
Now we say, have a safe flight.
And we've never stopped.
Never went back.
Every time I say, have a safe flight, instead of have a fun, great flight.
Right. What do you think about?
I think about 9/11, Liz. I think about 9/11 every time.
I have to say, at a certain point, post 9/11, we're going there.
Now, am I crying from laughter? Yes.
Or we don't know. Could be a mix.
A mix.
Could be a mix.
A wintry mix of happy and just if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Now,
right.
What are we doing for self-care in this time? I got my Xannies.
Okay.
I got my Zambi, my Xannies and my Ambies.
Your Zambies.
My Zambies. I have been doing a little wintry mix of my nightly Ambi. And then the other day I tried a 5 a.m. wake up into a Zanny just to keep it going.
Now
you know what I'm saying?
I gotta just interject here for a second. This is your self-care?
Yeah. This is my self-care. And then also, so this was the thing I wanted to bring up, and I just want to quickly caveat that okay. So something I will sometimes also do as a version of self-care is ideating about buying something that would ruin my financial life.
Retail therapy.
A retail, but really spending years and years ideating and just clicking and looking at something over and over and over again, even though it is ridiculous.
Totally get it.
So currently,
yes.
And I know, and this is just very Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette?
Yeah, she is Marie.
Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette. That's not her name?
That's actually someone else. She's from Brooklyn.
Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, and she works at her father's deli.
Fucking KMS. But anyways, I have been fixated on getting, I'm just going to say it, an Eames lounger.
Wow, must be nice.
For 25 years.
Okay, 25 years. And so just for those of us at home who don't know what you're talking about, this is you've probably seen this chair.
It's every therapist chair in every movie.
That's right.
It is the big leather chair.
It has a wood back.
With the wood back.
And it's very sexy.
It costs what a boat costs.
Yes.
I'm guessing. I have never Googled buying a boat. I don't want a boat, but I want that chair.
Okay.
And I've wanted it for so long.
Yeah. I mean, it's an aspirational chair.
It's an aspirational thing. And I've always told myself if I ever attain like at some point, I will prove to myself that I'm a success if I can buy this chair.
Okay.
And I recognize it is ridiculous.
Yes.
But it's beautiful. I do love to write
in a slight recline.
In a reclining state.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Like a leg up.
Yep.
And back, like almost asleep.
Yep, and
because of all the pills I'm
taking.
I'll
be honest, the Eames chair is the only chair.
There's no other chair that you can recline in that way. That's correct.
It. That's the only reclining chair on the market.
It's that or bust. Now, and here's the other thing. I am having a birthday.
You are.
This year.
Yeah, it's not tomorrow, but yes.
What are you trying to say?
I feel like
the birthday is, I'm turning 21 plus 29.
50.
So it's yes.
Mm-hmm.
Loud and proud.
Yes,
it's
amazing.
A big birthday.
Big one.
we are in hell currently.
Yes, I mean
a version of hell.
We're in a dystopian nightmare,
era.
I would call it.
So I'm just saying.
You want to buy a chair for your 50th birthday? Except you want to buy it now and say it's for your birthday, which is really like in 6 months.
Would it feel gross to do a GoFundMe for me to buy an Eames lounger for my own 50th birthday? I'm just putting it out there. We can move on.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it feels like if you're proving your success.
I'm never going to buy it. I'm never going to buy it. I can't afford it.
Okay.
It's just my mental health. I mean, I could buy it. It would be a very dumb thing to do.
Right. You could like buy the chair or send your child to like
or buy it for my child. One of us is getting it. No, or send my child is whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll just conclude this obviously very unlikable train of thought by saying it just coming back to the planes.
Wow.
It just I do feel like is this a cultural moment where we feel like carpe diem?
Yeah.
Things are rough and hard.
Listen, if
and
a
like,
chair,
how much longer am I waiting for this chair?
I mean, here's the thing. You just said the chair is for you.
I've
to
wanted
prove
it for
to yourself
decades.
that you have reached a certain level of success. Only you can determine if you have reached that level of success.
I know that I haven't. I'm telling you right now, despite what the presence of this podcast would indicate otherwise, but it feels like we're kind of in a now or never moment.
I think we are. And you know what? Maybe you set as a goal, maybe we can get this podcast to a place where like you get to buy your chair.
That's a great goal.
How about that?
That's a great goal.
I don't know that it's going to happen by the time you turn 50, but maybe it will.
I mean, this feels like more positive encouragement than you gave your friend who was getting on a plane. Okay, and then just to say, the other thing I've been doing for self-care that predates the dystopian era that we were in, and one of the things that always makes me feel better, always makes me laugh, is I listen to a little podcast called Les Culturistas.
Same girl, same.
And like truly, like on some like darker days or days where I'm just like wake up not feeling great, I put it on and I lose my mind laughing out loud, alone like a psycho in my car.
It's like you got your Zambies and you got your Culchies.
I got my Xannies, my Ambies, and my Culchies.
Your Zambies and your Culchies.
Yes. So that said,
yeah, we
wanted to introduce our guest today.
I could not be more excited to say that today's friend is a comedian, actor, writer, and has co-hosted the hit podcast Las Culturistas with Bowen Yang since 2016, which won Podcast of the Year at the iHeartRadio Podcast Awards. One day, you and me, Jessi Klein, JK. Our guest has also acted in TV shows like Shrill, I Love That For You, and No Good Deed, in which he played realtor Greg Boyslane and stole every fucking scene he was in. Matt Rogers, you're here to make friends.
Hi, friends. If you don't buy that fucking chair,
Matt,
it can't be that expensive.
I was
How much is it? We'll bleep it out.
Okay, can I?
Bleep it out.
We'll bleep it out.
No, I'll tell you how much it is. It's okay.
Yeah, tell us how much it is.
Well, here's the thing, and part of why I brought it up today. So it can be a range of costs.
Yes.
It is sold by Herman Miller, and they do a spring sale that is 3 weeks a year, and it's right now. So it's 20% off. They can be as much as $6,000.
Okay.
But right now it's like $42.
You have to buy that
and
chair.
And you can sell, you can resell.
You want it.
Yeah.
You're like have this like landmark moment coming up. You're talking about it. It's gonna make you happy.
Okay.
Do it.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something? Here's the thing about retail therapy. It fucking works.
Yes, it
fucking
does.
works.
It fucking works
does.
every time.
It works literally every time.
Every single time. And this is not even just any retail therapy. It's a moment that you can really take and be like, yeah, this thing that I've wanted for a really long time, I hope I can empower you to do it.
First of all, thank you for granting me. That is a gift. That's a gift.
I will be disappointed if you don't.
Wow.
And now I put expectation
now it's kind
on
of a
it.
fight.
I know.
Now, I want to be clear. I don't have room in my house.
I was trying to picture where you would even put it.
So you sell other things, make the money that way.
Honestly, I would wear it as a fucking hat. Okay, this is really nice that you're giving
You
got to
do this. And now you. So listen, with the plane.
Okay.
So wait, you
Excuse me, I have to go to school.
Yeah.
First of all, she said to you, if I make it, and you thought to yourself, let me tell her the truth that she might not, because what if when the plane is going down, she says, Liz told me I'd make it? Can we walk through the logic of this for 1 second?
Why did my best friend lie to me?
Here's the thing. I'm talking about like my best
I just want to interrupt and
friend.
say there's nothing you can say right now that will justify it. Go on.
Okay, cool. This is the person who, like, this is like ride or die, 30
Sure.
years, you know.
So comfort her.
I know, I did. I said I put you in a protective bubble, but I just wanted to acknowledge.
You said, yeah, I don't love it. Okay, so here's the thing. So there's two situations there. Either the plane lands and makes it, or the plane goes down.
Right.
And if the plane goes down, it's either going to be, Liz told me this would happen, or why did Liz say I would make it? Do you want to know what Megan Fox does?
Yes.
I guess so.
She listens to Britney Spears during her flights the entire time because she's very afraid of flying, and she knows it's not her destiny to die listening to Britney Spears. So she listens to Britney Spears every single flight she goes on, and guess who's still alive? Megan Fox. And thank God for that. I also know it's not...
Bless.
It's not my destiny to die on a plane.
That's
it's
how I
my
feel.
destiny to die accidentally by my own hand.
What?
So,
What?
yes.
Wait, slow down.
Wait.
Yes,
Slow
it is.
down.
I will die accidentally by my own hand. I know
are
that.
you
I know
talking
myself.
about?
Listen to me.
I don't like that
I
at
have a
all.
birthday too coming up. I'm going to be 35 next week. I know myself. I'm going to die accidentally by my own hand.
Stop it. See, okay,
first
can
of
I
all-
It's
do
me
this?
running with a knife in my kitchen. It's me whoop, whoop, whoop over a cliff trying to take a picture for fucking Raya. It's one of those.
This is very dark.
This is a dark
Not that you guys didn't
episode.
set a certain tone.
Look, I don't know what you're talking about.
Both of
We
you and
only
your dark-
mentioned 9/11 1,000 times before we started talking to you.
I understand what you mean by like feeling like you know what your destiny is in terms of your demise. Because like I also sort of know I'm not meant to perish in an airplane.
I don't think that's how it's going down.
I don't think
for
how
me.
it's going down, but I also think that if you really
pun
think,
intended.
thank you,
Right.
if you really feel that your destiny is to die by your own hand, then it's in your hands.
Oh, I know.
Literally. Like
I
you
know.
can change
But
your
the
own
thing is,
destiny.
it's not because it's accidentally by my own hands. Like it's an accident prone situation. So that's it being an accident.
Are you accident prone?
You know what? Way more than you would think.
Wow.
Like,
You're so graceful.
I agree.
do you consider me a graceful person?
I have a
consider
question about it.
What?
Yes, it's right here on
she
my
literally
iPad that's going to
does.
shut down
Jump
in 5
to
seconds.
it. Before it shuts down, I want to know this question.
Okay.
What gave you the impression that I was a graceful person?
Okay.
Darcy was graceful.
Darcy was very graceful, and Darcy was written for you, a very graceful
No,
man.
it wasn't written for me.
Yes, I'm just saying,
I auditioned
as
for
we
that
wrote
role.
the part, we were writing to your strengths, one of which is great grace.
Oh my God, that's
great
so
grace
funny.
and elegance.
Okay, well, I'm honored and flattered.
I
Well, it's
also would
just the
describe you as graceful and elegant, and I'm not just saying that because you're sitting here. I would say that if you weren't here. So
Okay, well, I'm happy that
I mean, literally, it's typed out.
it's typed out.
It's typed
Go for it.
out.
I have
Just
a
go to
question,
it.
but I want to know that.
Okay.
I want to know what you want to know about my grace.
Your Grace, knowing you, having worked with you, and then obviously also following you on the social, listening to the pod, all of it, seeing you out in the world, so proud of you, so excited to know you. I do feel like no one is having more fun than you.
Agreed.
And
Oh,
I
that's
also
so
feel
nice.
like you are somebody that everybody wants to be friends with.
Oh, that's so kind.
Not because of like, because you are genuinely putting out in the world this incredible vibration of like fun and love and
Grace.
charisma and grace.
And
That is
poise.
so kind.
And so my question was like, as someone who would love to have even 1/90th of what I feel you bring into a room. Grace, charisma, fun,
Poise,
good looks,
confidence.
poise, confidence.
oh my God.
Like, what advice would you give for someone who's like, how do I walk into a room
Honestly,
and attract?
And this is so funny because of what you guys were talking about up top, but like I really am an optimist. And I also think like, so it's been a really weird time for me too, because it's very hard to maintain that right now.
Yeah,
but
very.
I really, and I also think maybe I'm just privileged and lucky that I haven't had a lot of, bad stuff happen to me. I had a very happy, not a happy childhood because I was like a gay closeted kid, so that was like hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had a very happy mom, and like my mom was always like an easy laugher and always answered the phone like, hello. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I love that.
So I think I inherited a lot of my, I guess, joie de vivre from my mom and a lot
Joie
of.
de vivre is the right
It
word.
is.
But I also
Yes.
think I
Yes.
put on my best self for you guys. I really do. I mean, you guys have been my bosses. You know what I mean? Like, I look up to you both so much.
Oh my God, stop
and I
it.
also like think, you know, if you're seeing the best version of me, like that's a compliment, I guess, to me then that I did a good job. But I try very hard to enter spaces and leave them better than I came in. You know what I mean?
Well,
I
you
think
succeed at
You
that.
succeed.
That's
Is it
so
something that
nice.
you're self-consciously thinking always? Like,
I'm
how
exhausted
am I
at the
carrying-
end of every single day. Yeah. I
It's
mean,
honestly
honestly,
good to
No, is
know.
there?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were joking.
no,
I
I'm
mean,
not joking at
yeah.
all. Actually, the pandemic was a really bizarre moment for me because before the pandemic, I considered myself like an extreme extrovert. And when the pandemic happened and I was forced to be by myself, I didn't realize how much I needed that.
How
Didn't-
much you need being by yourself?
by myself. I needed to be by myself.
Yeah.
I don't consider myself explicitly an extrovert anymore. I learned a lot about myself during that time in forced isolation because I think I realized just how tired I get and how anxious I am. The truth is, a lot of the onness that I present is extreme social anxiety and a very intense level of self-scrutiny. I expect a lot of myself. I have, like I spoke about my mother, now I'll say my dad, like is also life of the party, always center of attention type person. What was also like a varsity sports coach,
Right.
like for 40 years, varsity football and baseball coach. And remember,
Wasn't he your coach at some
he
point?
was. He
Yeah.
pretty much ended up coaching everything I did, even
Yeah.
if he didn't know much about it.
Yeah.
I didn't have great cross country and track coaching when I was in high
Yeah, you did
school.
track.
But it was a real talent of mine, and he ended up being one of the better coaches I had ever had because he really found out how to coach it and did.
That's amazing.
What an act of love.
Yeah,
So you
no,
were very
I,
loved
I,
as a
I have
child,
tremendous
obviously.
parents. I
Yeah.
have tremendous parents,
Wow.
and I think that
How did you end up so funny? It's so weird because usually, like truly, like some of the funniest
well,
people
that was
I know
probably where
had,
the
had-
gay comes in,
Right, exactly.
Because it's like you know, when I was a kid, actually I used to get made fun of by all my friends because they would make fun of me and then they would say Matt never has any comebacks. For some reason, it was like I was always put on the spot to like come back at them with something or have something this mean or funny to say back, and I never could because it's not really in my nature to be in conflict.
Isn't it so funny how, like, at that age, like, the idea of comebacks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, my son is 9, and
Yeah.
he's starting to talk about, like, comebacks and
Yes.
burns.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and I'm
sure.
like,
Because it's a way to
Yeah.
fight without fighting.
it's a way to fight without fighting.
You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, especially with boys, it's
Yes.
like
It
if
sounds
you're
testosterone-y.
not gonna get scrappy, at least you can get like, you know, have the last word in like
Yeah.
a fun,
How about them apples?
thrilling way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that moment in that movie is like,
Yes.
that's, yeah.
Right.
Comeback.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like that's they nailed it.
Yeah.
Like, but it is so real, and I remember essentially being like, well, you better figure out your sense of humor because we're running low on things. I hit puberty and it was rough for like 3 years. Like I had an 11-inch growth spurt.
Yeah.
Oh, I
An
thought you
infamous
was-
rough
I thought
patch.
he was gonna say
I had a
infamous
really
rough. Yeah.
tough moment in middle school where I had no friends. I was in pain physically because of how much my body was changing. My face wasn't catching up with myself. And I had pretty much at 11 realized I was gay. So up here was bad. And I was trying too hard. And I was just, it was really, really bad.
Yeah.
And so that was like another really lonely time for me. And I remember being so upset because all I ever wanted was friends. And, you know, it was very hard for me to make friends. I was close with my little sister, but boys made fun of me. And then because the boys were making fun of me and the girls wanted the boys to like them, they weren't really chilling with me either. And so it was a rough, middle school was like rough for me. And then when I got to high school and was good at sports, because when I did catch up, I became a very fast runner and was good at sports and was pretty good at baseball and stuff. It became a thing where it's like establish your identity as this thing and also this thing, so it can't be this thing.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
I
I
totally
was a
get
good track runner. And speaking of Will Ferrell in that movie, I remember I was able to pretty much like memorize 2 movies right after I saw them. Anchorman and Mean Girls.
Yeah.
And so with Anchorman, I was
Memorable.
good with the boys, and
Yeah.
with Mean Girls, I was good with the girls. And so I basically like learned comedic timing which I always think I had a little bit of it, but then I think I became aware of the fact that I could perform in a funny way.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I was like good at sports and funny.
Yeah.
So by the time I graduated high school, I don't say this as like a thing I think is like important or whatever. I just mean to denote how far I came. I was actually prom king.
Wow.
Because I literally like.
Hey, Matt.
What a story of redemption.
I remember thinking at the end of high school, like, wow, I really did it. I proved them all wrong. I'm popular. I created this version of myself that is the king of my high school. I did it. And then I remember I went to NYU, and the bullying there from the out gay kids was way worse than anything I had ever experienced.
Oh, okay, that's an unexpected twist
Yeah,
to
I
this
didn't
story.
And
see
here
that
I am
coming.
thinking I'm going to go to school and like be able to slowly grow into myself. And yet at NYU, all these kids had come there who were, you know, fearlessly themselves for years already. And
Were you out in high school?
No, I actually wasn't out my whole freshman year of college either. I was just too
Wow.
afraid, and that's one of the reasons why I was getting bullied. I remember on my floor, the other gay kids on my floor would like look at me and laugh and like text around me about what I was wearing and the way I was speaking, because I spoke down here and had a very thick Long Island accent, which I got rid of for the most part. I have sort of found that the roles that I end up playing and the stuff that I end up gravitating towards speaks to that thing I had to do all my life, which is like code switch to be able to fit in and be comfortable in an environment and to survive and thrive in an environment, because I never could fully be myself. And so now in my personal life and in my day-to-day and on the podcast and what I present to people is I just try to be the person that I think I naturally am all the time, which is, you know, I try to be a happy person. It sometimes makes me sad when people feel tripped up and like worrisome and pessimistic. And I feel sometimes like I have to take it on or like help.
Yeah.
Which exhausts me sometimes. I'm like on the verge of tears. It's funny that you say that, because like the pandemic made me realize how much I'd been spinning my wheels
Yeah.
for a really long time. And taking on a lot of other people's stuff so that they didn't have to feel bad, because I wish someone had done that for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I relate to you because
Yeah.
I think when you grow up gay,
Yeah.
and especially when you grow up gay as a person who wants to be an entertainer, like
Yeah,
you
which I
do,
always wanted.
and same. And
Yeah.
I think like I was like, oh, I can distract, you know, like I can put on a show, I can distract. And I can take care of other people's feelings by trying to make them feel good, so that they won't feel bad about this thing that I actually feel really bad about.
Well, it goes all the way back to like literally, I remember, it's funny because we have our podcast now, Las Culturistas, where we ask people what was the culture that made you say culture was for me.
One
And
of the
honestly,
greatest questions.
Yeah, so good.
Thank you, but it was intended as like a stupid, funny thought starter, but now I actually think it's kind of poignant because
No, it's so profound.
It is.
It is so
Thanks.
profound.
But
it's so smart.
it's, you know what it was? Like my genuine answer to that question, and I have several, but if I really could say, I remember 1997, 1998, I remember being obsessed with Titanic when it came out.
Yes.
And then the Oscars happened.
Yes.
And Titanic was at the Oscars, and I loved Titanic for a litany of reasons, like everyone did, et cetera. I was obsessed with like its like stronghold on the culture. I loved, you know, obviously Leo and Kate. And then I watched the Oscars, and I remember just thinking, oh, I don't belong here. I belong there.
Interesting.
And I just thought that this room where all these people that made me so happy, and they looked so beautiful and so glamorous, and their achievements were being acknowledged. And I don't know, I just was like, I remember thinking like, I know what I have to work towards now. I have to be at the Oscars. I have to be in entertainment because that's where people are beautiful and happy.
Everyone there has an Eames lounger.
you know what I'm
All of them
saying?
have the
All
Eames
of them.
lounger.
But one of
Yeah.
the weird things also as you get in the entertainment industry, because in a weird way, like so many of my dreams came true. And then I believe it was Wicked who said, but getting your dreams is strange, but it seems a little, well, complicated.
Yes.
Because then you realize like, it will never make you happy.
No.
Like I've been to so many of these things. I've gotten to do so many of the things that I'm so much further in my career than I ever thought I would be, just based on representation when I was growing up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm blown away by the things that I get to do and some of the things that I've achieved, but it can't be that stuff that makes you happy. And that's, I guess, one of the things, I guess, that like I would go back and tell myself is it's like, that's great that this is motivating you, but these people are not happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm glad you didn't know that. I'm glad you didn't know that.
I'm happy
then.
I didn't know that either, because I think that you do need that sort of like blind optimism and also runway to make the effort.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it motivated you. It ignited your manifest destiny. You know? To get out here to do the thing that you love to do.
Totally.
And even if it was based on a little bit of a charade,
Which, I mean, it's a show.
It is a show.
You know what I mean? The
It's
Oscars are
why
a
they
show.
call it
But it's
show
funny
business.
because, hey, honey, it's show business, not show friends.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not here. Actually, it is show friends
Here
here.
it is, show friends.
New title?
I was just, oh, is this what we're doing? I will say.
That's a long answer, by the way.
No. This is truly.
This is what we're here to
why
do.
We're here. It's such a joy to have you.
We want to
here.
unpack Matt.
We're unpacking Matt. That's like my indie movie I write. That's like on the black unpacking Matt.
Well, Tech Avail.
Tech Avail. You'll audition to play yourself. You've got the part.
I'll direct it. Fine.
I remember being 12 years old back in a time when like no one I knew worked in entertainment, and nor did there seem to be any reasonable path to get there.
Yeah.
Like
How?
My dad was a probation officer. My mom was a teacher. Like this was like, anyway, but I remember like going shopping for clothes with my mom one day, and like at some random store on like 8th Street in New York.
Yes.
And like there was some little like wool suit, like a little tuxedo wool suit. And I like tried it on in the dressing room. I remember this so clearly. And I like put on this little wool suit and I was like, I'm going to wear this to the Oscars one day.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
What was I doing? But that image is so powerful.
And it's
You were
pure.
dreaming.
You know
And
what I
it's
mean? It's like,
pure.
it's I don't
And yes,
know.
not everybody there is happy, but I will say, like, you do have it's certainly a moment of happiness.
It's a good moment.
I mean,
It's a good moment.
I've never been invited, never been nommed for an Oscar, but I did, not to be an asshole, but I did win an Emmy. And I will say, like, going on that stage, I kind of lost my fucking mind.
Oh,
Yeah,
course.
of course.
And,
And good.
like-
And good.
And I was just like, oh my, and I do.
And because
I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm fucking here.
Yeah, you did it.
not expect to win.
Yeah.
And if I'm in my truth, truly the thought going through my head was, God, I hope all my ex-boyfriends are watching.
I think about it all the time.
It's
a huge driver for everything.
Of course.
course.
Such a driver. Now, was I like depressed 72 hours later about something else?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
But I will not allow us to dampen what that moment can mean. And I'm going to say, talk about a prediction. I think you're going to get there.
I
see it
next
for you.
year. I also want to say I have the very unique experience of having been at the Oscars because I've written for quite a few of them.
Yes.
And let me tell you, I was happy.
Yeah.
There was a moment where I was standing backstage and I was somehow standing next to Steven Spielberg, George Lucas.
Don't know. Haven't
Okay,
heard.
you look it up.
Okay.
And Francis Ford Coppola.
Wow.
And I was like, what is life?
Yeah.
And I have to give it to, it was Karen Kilgariff, who she was the
Very
head
funny.
writer, extremely funny.
funny.
She put her arm around me and she could tell that I was like really having a moment. And she said, this is just the beginning.
That's
so
so
sweet.
And it was
nice.
really sweet. And I really
What a
have
great moment.
tried to, probably because I have a little bit of depression that runs through me at all times, but
I don't know what you're
I
talking about.
try to, when I am happy, when I'm in those moments, especially in those moments that the 12-year-old me
Yes.
would be so excited about,
Yeah.
I try to take a snapshot of that moment and go,
Yes.
you're happy right now.
Yes.
And that was one of the moments in my life where I was like, I'm happy right now. Like, I am in this place I've always dreamt of being. I was also that little kid watching the show growing up and thinking, well, I probably will never like win Best Actress. So how the hell am I ever going to get to the Oscars? Well,
You got there.
I got there.
And
I got
just
there.
like what, like, and when you say, Matt, like talking about like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm like in this room or not this room, but I mean,
Maybe he can't believe he's in this room. I don't know.
But
I'm crying.
I still always, I feel that, like, honestly, Eames lounger aside, I am so grateful and in constant shock that I get to make a living
Same.
doing any of this.
I
Getting
know.
any paycheck whatsoever to write and be like, do this at all.
I'm a good gal.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a good guy. That's gay gal and gay
for those
guy.
of you who
just for
couldn't.
those of you who didn't pick it up the first
Delineate
time.
the apostrophe
Gay.
there.
But like I have a very, as I think everyone does, but I like have a very special place in my heart for gay men.
Of course.
And
Who among?
But but I do because I think probably because guys could come out earlier than girls could when I was a young person. So
Sure.
I knew gay guys before I knew gay
Other
girls.
gay women, yeah.
Yeah. And so like you guys are my OGs in a way.
I hear you.
And so not that long ago, my gay guy best friend left LA and he is literally named Kyle.
Oh, I love that.
He's an actual Kyle.
A true Kyle.
And literally, his name is
love
Kyle.
it.
And right before the pandemic, he moved, and he moved to Nashville. And like he really left a crater in my heart.
It's tough when that happens.
It's really hard.
Kyle-sized crater.
A Kyle-sized crater, and what I'm saying is that I have a Kyle-sized vacancy in my heart. And I know I'm significantly older than you, but like I would take this to the next level.
Come on, babe. It's giving all time.
It's happening.
Oh my God.
I love that it's happening.
He
right
just
now.
fist bumped me.
You got the fist bump of
Yeah, you don't even
friendship.
know what that means because for gay people, that's like a secret thing.
That what we just did right there.
Yeah, you don't even
Layers.
know.
Wait, are you serious?
No.
No.
I was like, oh fuck.
Fist bump is kind of a straight person
Yeah,
thing.
it
Yeah,
is.
I was
That's
actually
actually,
seemed
to
pretty
be honest,
like
it's
butchy all around.
pretty
You know,
butchy
it's-
for both of us.
It's like I think that one of the things I try to be most in the world is a good friend because
Same.
it's like it's like everything. Like this I'll say. So my mom, now that I'm doing a little bit better, like in my career and like have some money, I'm finally able to get my parents like nice gifts. Like I could never do
nice.
anything for them really all throughout my 20s and
Yes.
stuff. Like I was always pathetic, and I'm still kind of bad at Christmas gifts because I'm the Prince of Christmas.
You're
and I'm
the
busy.
I was
that's
gonna
a lot of
say,
pressure.
I can't picture you getting anyone a bad Christmas
So
gift.
what I did was I was like, okay, what can I really do for my mom and her sister, my aunt, who's like a second mom to me, that would like rock, that they would never do for themselves. And so I paid for them and and their best friend, them and each their best girlfriend, to go to Vegas to see Adele
Oh my God.
because I was like, the importance of a trip with your friends. Like there's nothing like that. Like you need time with your friends.
Yes.
And I said to my mom when I got her, when I told her this was happening, my aunt was like, maybe I'll invite my mother-in-law. And my mom was like, maybe I'll take your father. I'm like, no. Take your girlfriends, go with each other and your girlfriends.
Girl trip.
To Vegas.
Yes.
To see Adele.
Yes.
And like feel your feelings and do the thing, go drink, do whatever. My mom got her credit card stolen.
Yes, it's giving Vegas.
You know what I mean? It gave Vegas, and like it gave Vegas in their version of it. And so I'm just like, friendship is so important, and it's also been the basis for what I think has made me successful is my best friendship with Bowen.
Yeah.
I genuinely think people tune in for that. It's not, they don't tune in to hear what we're gonna say about Honora. You know what I mean? Like,
we
Yeah,
loved
I mean,
it.
loved
rave
it.
reviews, by the way. Loved the film.
Loved it.
But like, I don't really think people tune in to hear how great we are at interviewing or what we think about this or what I don't think so honeys are going to be.
A little
I think
bit.
they
I
tune in.
do like to
No,
know
you're
those.
Well, sure. If that's why people want to listen to it, great. But I genuinely think if it was someone who wasn't actually my ride or die, it wouldn't work.
I agree.
Well, I completely agree. And I mean, I think I speak for many people when I say I really feel like your relationship with Bowen is like one of the great loves.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
that
consider it a love story between best friends. I think that's what the
Absolutely.
It is a
podcast
lot
is.
like, and that is part of why it is part of, was not just trying to make a segue. It is truly a part of my self-care to listen to your pod. And when I listen to you and Bowen, like the love between you does feel like sort of a magical like blanket that we all get to be wrapped in. And I one of the things I wanted to ask you was, can you just talk a little about the very first time you met Bowen?
Yes.
Was it like love at first sight? Like, was there an immediate fall in love?
No, I do remember.
Friend love.
Here's what I'll say. I do remember the first time I met all of my close friends. I remember the first time I saw Sudie Green. I remember the first time I saw Bowen. I remember the first time I saw my friend Dave. I remember so many times of like it being a thing. And I actually have this with boyfriends too. Whenever I've had 3 boyfriends in my life, and when I saw a picture of all of them, I said in my brain, that's my boyfriend.
My boyfriend.
And they were every time.
Were these all like app boyfriends? Like,
No,
I see a picture, I feel it?
None of them
Stay
were.
focused. I want to know about Bowen.
No, we're
None
saying,
of them
but
were,
I just, when
but-
you said when I saw a picture, I
I'm
knew.
just saying, like, it's
You knew.
It's like a
feeling.
time is a
knowing.
flat circle arrival moment I
Yes.
have in my head where I'm like, that person's important
Yes,
to me.
yes.
And I had that with Bowen. I was my freshman year of college, and a girl on my floor, Shermung Bielfeld.
Excuse me?
Shermung Bielfeld.
Yep.
So she said, I'm going to the improv. So my friend Bowen that I take like pre-med classes with.
Yeah, of course.
Because Bowen was a chemistry major.
Amazing.
Aware.
And he's in the improv group, and he wants me to go see the sketch comedy group with him tonight. Do you want to come with us? I feel like you're both funny. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I remember I got down out of the elevator and rounded the corner, and I saw Bowen waiting for Mung. And I could tell he didn't know who I was or that I was coming. And he kind of gave me like a dirty look. And I kind of gave him a dirty look back. And then we went to the show, and we had like a nice time watching the sketch comedy show, which also ended up being really huge for me because I was like, I want to be in that group. And then I eventually did audition for, get into, and then become like director of that group. I brought Sudie in as my assistant, et cetera. And like the rest is history, kind of synergetic. But I remember being like, I want that person to like me because there's something there. We have a shared interest.
Yeah.
And then like next year when I did get on the group, and he was the gay in the improv group and I was the gay in the sketch group.
There can only be one.
Real meet cute.
They kind of said like, oh, you guys should be friends. You're both gay. And we kind of resented that.
Oh, yeah, that's very-
and resented
that's
each
so
other
horrifying.
as a result.
Yeah.
And then it was not long before our very similar interests, and the fact that we kind of like, I kind of refer to him as like my twin that was born in a different part of the world. Like he was born in Australia.
Yeah.
He was born on the other side of the world on a different day than me, but I do feel like we have like a twin
Water
thing.
flushing the other way.
Yeah,
That's how far.
there is a weird thing where
Soul
sometimes
connection.
people will say something, maybe you hear this on the podcast, but we will respond
In the exact same way.
Yes.
same way, in the exact same like tenor. And I tend to know how he's feeling without being there. Like I do feel like a sort of psychic connection to
that.
him.
I completely believe that because, again, this is what your millions of listeners are feeling as we listen to you
Exactly.
guys.
I just feel like we're on
Entertain
the
us.
same wavelength.
Yes. Yeah.
And but that being said, like we've now been best friends for we've been friends for 16 years, but we've been best friends for like 12. And that having that type of connection also means you're gonna go through like hard times.
Yeah.
You know what I
course.
mean? Like we have been through a lot. And I think that I've had other really close relationships that have felt really good and feeling meaningful, but they do fall away. Like I think one of the best things about the show Girls is that they're not friends at the end of their 20s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
like, thank you for really speaking truth to this, because we don't want to say it, but
Yes.
some
happens.
relationships are a season.
A
Yeah.
season.
And I think that honestly, that show was about those girls and the season of their friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that show is aging so well, by the way. And like all the rewatches that are happening are so like they're worth it. It's a great little Obamacare time capsule. But I just feel like the thing with Bowen that I'm so proud of is everything we've weathered. Because I think everyone out there who has a best friend knows, like, there are so many layers.
Oh, yeah.
So
You
many.
know what I mean? And like, especially when you're both gay men in the same community and in the same industry, and when you're known as a package deal for a certain amount of time, like, there's just so much, there's so loaded.
Well, yeah,
But
it's like
but
when
we
you can
are-
be your whole self with someone.
Yep.
That is both an incredible magical thing and
Yes.
also your whole self. There's
There's
a
shadow
lot
side.
of like we're all the things.
And there's
Yes.
also when that friendship becomes like commodified in public, there's so much projection that happens. There's so much like, and I'm talking about like to each other and also from other people, so that it's just like hard to feel like you have a total grip on it sometimes.
Yeah.
And we probably during our like, when we were like 27, 28, 29, I'm not necessarily talking about when he got SNL. That wasn't it. It was so many things. But like when you're approaching 30, like you're going crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're changing a
Yes.
lot.
Saturn Returns.
Yeah, the Saturn
Saturn
Returns.
Returns.
I was like refraining from saying it
No
because
doubt.
I
No,
we were all
overuse it.
thinking it. We were all thinking it.
So that time was so fucking crazy for me that like we did take a 4 or 5 month break from speaking to each other at one point. And then we got to the other side of it and ultimately we still wanted to be best friends.
Yeah.
And now I really do think we're closer than ever. I really do.
You can really feel it. I had the great pleasure of doing your podcast.
Yeah, we had such a lovely afternoon.
We really did.
Yeah.
But I think like you're right in that people listen and people are drawn to your podcast because they want to be in that hug.
It's
they
a lot of
wanna-
pressure.
Yeah, of course.
Like
of course.
sometimes it's
Yeah.
like it's so joyful, but then it's just like I remember like again, post-pandemic, people would come up and it was like they were having a different response to the podcast. People were always like, I really enjoy it. And then after the pandemic, it was like people crying, being like, thank you. I felt so lonely.
Wow.
And you guys were my friends during the podcast. And it sort of did develop this like, at times lovely, but sometimes like feeling a lot of pressure
Yeah.
around the parasocial element of it.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart that people feel lonely. Like that to me makes me feel like almost like a duty and like it's my privilege to be
Right.
there for people
Yeah.
and like hang out with them in this way. But
but the truth
it
is-
puts a pressure on a lot.
The truth is, if I may, as your elder, speaks to you in this way, like you,
Elder Feldman.
that's why they call me that. But
Because you're Mormon.
Yeah,
now.
exactly, yeah, always have been. One of the only.
we should have said that at the beginning.
I should have. Yeah, I was
Sorry.
invited in
Changes
a
a little bit.
whole other
The
corner
vibe.
of the audience.
Yeah, right.
But I think if you can release that, if you
This
can
is the me
release
putting
that-
pressure on myself.
Yeah, exactly. But like the truth is that just by being yourself and like I was there, I sat there across from you and Bowen, and I just felt it.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to rely on you for the friendship or the,
Right.
I wasn't like a lonely listener at home, like,
Yeah.
with you as my lifeline. Like you guys just being yourselves and loving each other and yes-anding each other
Mm-hmm.
and supporting each other. It's all you have to worry about,
Yeah.
And like you just, by your existence, you are helping people feel less alone. And by the way, that is very much the inspiration for us wanting to do this podcast, because Jessi and I have been, talking about this for a really long time, and we were both very lonely kids, and so we have like a real sore spot, a soft spot rather for people who feel like they don't have their community, people who don't feel like that they have that friend that they can say
Yeah.
anything to, their 3 a.m. call,
Yeah.
And so, we, I think, aspire to connect with our audience in the way that you guys have.
Yeah, and I think just
Yeah.
to add, to just throw one other thing onto it, I think it's not just that you guys make people feel like, oh, like I'm with these people and like now I feel less alone. I think it's also, it's almost, I think there are people who have never, even into adulthood, they might have friends, good friends, acquaintances, but like the reminder that like your friends can, like the kind of friendship that you are just living with Bowen is like a demonstration of like how deep and beautiful a friendship can be.
Speaking of these like incredible things that people can do for each other, you know, as friends, we have a little thing we like to do on the show called our Ravioli moment.
Oh, Ravioli moment.
Which is really just that moment where a friend shows up for you in a way that you need so desperately.
And that stays with you.
That stays with you forever.
My Ravioli moment where someone was there. Well, a couple years ago, I thought I met like the love of my life. And there was no reason I had to believe that it wouldn't work out. And it all just, to put it mildly and to make a long story very short, ended very quickly. And in a very surprising way that caught me off guard. And my response was to immediately fly to New York to like pretty much be with my friends the whole time. And I did a bunch of, speaking of like crazy purchase things, like I would just buy us tickets to Broadway shows like and be like, this is what we're seeing on Thursday night and we're all going. I was like, I'm not asking for money from anyone. I just want you to be available and go.
Yeah.
So we like went to a bunch of Broadway shows and stuff. And I remember one day we were going to go to this old restaurant that I used to work at called Brooklyn Crab in Red Hook. Do you know Brooklyn Crab?
I know Brooklyn Crab.
Yeah, so I worked there for 4 years.
Yes, I remember like you talked about like breaking off the little
I
crab.
was like a surgeon with the crabs.
Yeah,
like I was robbing the place. I was so good.
Surgeon.
So I was like, I really want to go there and I just want to like kind of get drunk all day and like go play mini golf or something. And I remember we also took mushrooms. So it was like me and like...
End of those, and also took mushrooms.
And we'll order like crab royales, which are like these monster like, you know, it's like a pound and a quarter of lobster and then like a bunch of crab legs, like all these different kinds of crab legs with like corn and sausage and all this stuff. And we just got 2 of them and got pictures and like went off. And we also had mushrooms. And we went to go play mini golf next door because there's like an indoor mini golf thing that's themed to pirates.
Ugh, wonderful.
And so we were mini golfing. And I feel like with any grief or with any breakup, it like comes in obviously waves and you don't really know. And also when you're on mushrooms and drinking.
Yeah. Other waves
and I
happen
was
too.
so heartbroken and I was so confused and I was so embarrassed and I was so sad that like I was just standing there at one point and I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to start sobbing. And like, I went into the bathroom and I remember they had a tiny mirror that was like a plank, like a hole in a ship.
Oh, of course they did.
Understood.
And I remember I just started sobbing in the bathroom by myself because I was so,
it's
I was
the worst.
so destroyed.
The worst.
And like my friend Josh Sharp came in and he saw me and he didn't even say anything. He just like gave me a hug. He just like held me. And it was just, and I was like, you know, like, thank God for my friend. And thank God for my friends in that moment. I think that's also why I was like so sure that what I wanted to get my mother was this girls trip.
Yeah.
Is because like my close friendships like really came through for me. Like really came through for me.
Yeah.
In like a way where I did a bunch of stupid stuff during that era anyway. Like I remember I paid a psychic like an insane amount of money because she got me on the hook. Like I was making bad choices. I was drinking a lot. I was eating bad. I was like really wallowing. I was that person who couldn't stop talking about it. Like, and I was just like a cartoon version of someone going through a breakup. And they didn't care. They didn't judge me at all. Like you know what I mean? Like, and so yeah, it was really important to me and I will never forget that. Yeah. And I'll never forget the time where, you know, like I was going through another breakup and I called Bowen and he immediately got on a plane.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, cause I think I've gotten this across, but like I'm a very sensitive person and very hard on myself and I take rejection really hard. Like I remember leaving I Love That For You, like, and it was my first series regular I had ever booked and it meant so much to me. And I remember like really not being sure that I was ever doing a good enough job. Like
you were very hard on yourself.
I was, and you know, Jennifer Lewis actually pulled me aside one day.
Talk about a great romance.
Yeah. She actually pulled me
too.
aside one day and she was like, I have to tell you something. She goes, you are way too hard on yourself. And I was just like, I know, I just don't think I'm very good. She was like, she said some nice things to me. I won't say what. But
I know what she said.
But she basically like, I felt like she saw me in that moment, and like I haven't spoken to her in a while, but I did feel like she was like a mentor to me.
She loves you.
I love her, and like just to have someone like that talented, like really feel like she was lifting you up, and I could say that about my friends too. I have such incredible, dynamic friends that I'm honored to have in my life. I'm like a mess.
It's first of all, you are doing a beautiful service to men and people out there because you're feeling your feelings and you're letting them out.
If I could help it, maybe I wouldn't.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you can't because it's okay. Yeah. It's okay to feel your feelings.
But I just like, I don't know that I could do this stuff or anything without people pouring into me the way I'm lucky enough to have sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just remembered that moment of him coming in there to that bathroom at the pirate themed mini golf and me crying in this little porthole mirror, which was so lame. I was like, it was a tiny mirror in a huge bathroom.
Title of that?
Yeah.
Tiny mirror,
but
huge
he
bathroom?
just like wrapped me up, man. And like, then I remember my friend George came in and said something really sweet. And all of a sudden I was just like, surrounded by love and support, and it really, like, I don't want to say saved my life because I don't want to be dramatic, but like,
no, but
I was having a really hard time.
It's not, your life can be saved in ways that are not about actual death and actual life.
Yeah.
Like, and I was saying that last time we were here, like, you're the best friends are the ones who I feel like I could say this. I feel like my life has been saved by friends so many times in my life in ways like, and it's exactly hugging stupid pirate bathroom.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm going to guess that people cry in that bathroom every day.
You know what? Like,
I'm gonna say
it
no
ended
one's
up
ever
being
been
kind
in
of
there
a
without
great place to do it.
Yeah.
And also, like,
small little mirror.
You know
fake
what's
boat
great too?
window?
That there were specific things to remember about it. Like
Yeah.
it was pirate themed, like the tiny mirror. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
it's this
cinematic.
texture. And then people said to me at the time, they were like, "You don't realize it, but like you're going through life." You know what I mean? Like this is the stuff. This is actually like kind of the good part. Like you couldn't have told me that at the time. I was in agony every day. And it took me like a bit to get out of that state. And I don't ever want to do it again. But yet,
But you know that
if I'm
bathroom's
able
there.
to share something, it's that was really important to me. And so people that listen to your podcast, if like they're interested in like how to be a good friend, that's how you be a good friend.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah. The unasked for, and yet we know it's consensual. Hug.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Is there anything that you would like to say or let the listeners know before we pop off here?
Las Culturistas is out every Wednesday. We've had an amazing March full of guests. Lady Gaga. Kate Blanchett.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
We've got some, if you've
What
not
about,
listened
is there
to
anybody else?
Endless Feldman. Natasha Rothwell.
Oh,
wow.
Natasha.
Just really,
I've heard of 3 of them.
bunch of really just a wonderful run of episodes that we've had, and the podcast is out every Wednesday wherever you get your podcasts, and some stuff on the horizon for sure.
Awesome. And if you haven't seen Matt in No Good Deed, you are really missing out because he is fucking phenomenal. What a joy. What a joy.
On a phenomenal show filled with other phenomenal actors.
My dream job, that job. Thank you so much for giving me that opportunity.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Well, hey, guess what?
Guess what?
Guess what? That's it.
That was the app.
That's it.
Thanks, Matt Rogers.
Thanks, Matt Rogers, and thank you for listening. Follow us on social media at Here to Make Friends Pod, and let us know who you think we should make friends with next. Email us at htmfpod@gmail.com and go out and make a friend.
That was a Headgum podcast.